Title: The Mediocre Marvel, a tale of unremarkable heroism. In the bustling city of Mediocrityville, where the sun often shone a bit too brightly and the rain fell a bit too often, lived a young man named Max Miller. Max was your average guy. He had a 9-to-5 job as a data entry clerk, a small apartment, and a cat named Whiskers who barely tolerated his presence. But there was one thing that set Max apart from the rest of the citizens. He was a superhero. Well, sort of. Max possessed what could only be described as mediocre powers. He could generate small sparks from his fingertips, the kind you might get from shuffling across a carpet on a dry day. He could jump slightly higher than an average person, maybe a foot or two at most. And his most impressive ability? He could perfectly mimic the sound of a kazoo. While other superheroes in the neighboring cities could fly, turn invisible, or manipulate time, Max's abilities were undeniably underwhelming. However, Max was determined to use his powers for good, no matter how inconsequential they seemed. One fateful day, as Max was walking home from work, he noticed a commotion near a local bank. A group of robbers, armed with nothing more than water pistols, were attempting to carry out their heist. Max's heart raced. This was his moment to shine. He quickly dashed into a nearby alley, donned his makeshift superhero costume, complete with a towel for a cape, and emerged as the Mediocre Marvel. With a deep breath, he sprinted towards the bank and let out a feeble burst of sparks from his fingertips, hoping to intimidate the robbers. The robbers turned to him, and one of them burst out laughing. "Is this a joke?" he snorted. "You're the lamest superhero I've ever seen." Max's face flushed with embarrassment, but he held his ground. "Give up now, or face the wrath of, the Mediocre Marvel." The robbers couldn't contain their laughter, but one of them, trying to stifle a chuckle, accidentally squeezed his water pistol's trigger. A small stream of water hit Max square in the chest, soaking his costume. He let out an exasperated sigh, realizing that his heroic moment had taken a damp turn. But then, a surprising thing happened. The water that had hit Max seemed to amplify his powers. The sparks that usually fizzled out after a few seconds now crackled and popped with renewed vigor. And when he jumped, he soared several feet higher than before, landing with a surprised grin. The robbers' laughter quickly turned to shock as they watched Max's lackluster powers transform into something, well, slightly more impressive. The sparks he generated now danced around his fingertips like miniature fireworks, casting a dazzling display of lights. "What the heck is happening?" one of the robbers exclaimed. Max, feeling a surge of confidence, unleashed a burst of sparks towards the robbers' water pistols. The sparks ignited the water streams, turning them into jets of steam that enveloped the robbers, rendering their feeble weapons useless. As the steam cleared, Max stood before the bewildered criminals with newfound poise. "Surrender now, or face the extraordinary power of the Mediocre Marvel," he declared, his voice trembling slightly. Realizing that their plans had gone awry, the robbers dropped their water pistols and raised their hands in defeat. The police arrived shortly after, arresting the would-be thieves. Max's neighbors had gathered to watch the spectacle, and they cheered for him as he basked in his moment of triumph. Word of the Mediocre Marvel's unexpected victory spread throughout the city. People started to embrace him as a symbol of everyday courage and determination. Max, while still grappling with his modest abilities, found himself inspired by the support he received. Over time, Max continued to use his slightly improved powers to thwart petty criminals and help those in need. He even learned to harness his kazoo mimicry as a distraction technique, causing villains to burst into laughter during their evil monologues. As the years passed, Max's reputation grew. He might not have been the most powerful superhero, but he was definitely one of the most relatable. He showed that even the most unremarkable talents could make a difference when used with a heart full of determination and a dash of creativity. And so, in the city of Mediocrityville, the Mediocre Marvel continued to protect the streets with his subpar powers, reminding everyone that true heroism often lies in embracing what makes us unique, no matter how mediocre it may seem.